Chicago police are ramping up their search for a hit-and-run driver who sent 2 young girls to the hospital.
Plus, new fallout from the president's latest tariff order, the action European leaders are demanding in the wake of the Supreme Court ruling.
And taking a live look outside this morning, winter is reminding us it is not over yet.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us on this Monday morning. I'm Gabriela Primus.
I'm Anthony Ponce. Good morning, everybody. Let's head straight over to Caitlin for an update. It was full out snowing when I came in.
Full out snowing?
Yes, when I was driving in, sure.
Yeah, take a look behind me. Satellite radar does show how we have blue covering most of Chicagoland, but where we actually have that bona fide snow shower happening, you can see behind me the darker blue shades from the lakefront stretching south. This is going to be from Midway points east into eastern Will County. Also near O'Hare, we have some darker blue shades representing that snow that's coming down. Northwest Indiana, Lake County, you have some light snow. And then the rest of us getting in on some flurry activity. We really are going to see the best potential for accumulation being in Northwest Indiana. I'll show you who has the winter weather advisory and how much snow we expect, along with how cold we're going to stay today. Ahead, Gabby, how's traffic?
Hey, Caitlin, taking a look at just our travel times here, and honestly, things are looking okay. 28 minutes on the Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown, still at 25 on the Eisenhower and on the Stevenson from 355 to DuSable Lakeshore Drive. A little heavy on the Dan Ryan. Really, we have nothing to report, but maybe it's because some of those snow flurries. I'm looking at some of the cameras, and it seems like, yeah, it might be impacting traffic, a little stop and go, especially as you hit 35th into the city. I'll keep you updated on anything that comes around, but I'm not seeing any train trouble either, so that's good news to start your Monday. We are starting with some breaking news on the newscast side here. 2 women are dead after a house fire in Northlake. Crews were called to the home on West Drive early this morning to find it on fire. Once they put it out, they found 2 women inside. Neighbors were woken up and told to leave.
Somebody was knocking on the door, and the police told us to please, evacuate your house and move the cars. I've been praying. There's just been so many things happen to this family that let's just hope everything is okay.
Authorities identified the victims as 65-year-old Susan Palis and 63-year-old Mara Carmen Wilkerson. They're still investigating a cause in this case.
Developing this morning, the U.S. Embassy is telling all Americans who are right now in Mexico to shelter in place after Mexican forces killed a powerful cartel leader known as El Mencho. It happened during a drug raid in his home state of Jalisco. Cartel members responded by blocking roads and then setting cars and buildings on fire. This shelter-in-place order is stranding Americans who are on vacation down there in places like Puerto Vallarta. Multiple flights have been canceled as well to that region.
People were running into the actual lobby of the condo building saying you can't go outside, the cartel's outside, they're setting fires in the area. I went on top of the building. I could see that there were a number of fires set throughout the romantic zone.
El Mencho was the boss of one of the fastest growing criminal networks in Mexico, notorious for trafficking fentanyl, meth, and cocaine into the U.S.
Chicago police are searching for a hit-and-run driver who left a 6-year-old girl fighting for her life and a 15-year-old seriously hurt. This is a photo of the car police are looking for. You should see it here in a second. A white and black 2010 Lincoln MXT with the license plate FS7 3498. The hit and run happened around 7:45 Friday morning near the intersection of West 69th Street and South Paulina Street in Englewood. Police say the car has a sticker on the left rear window and should have damage to the front hood or windshield.
The Chicago Fire Department is investigating back-to-back fires that broke out in Logan Square. The first one happened Saturday night right near the intersection of West Palmer and North Hamlin. The fire left 2 people hurt and displaced 22 others, including a number of children. And then, less than 24 hours later, another building caught on fire right near the intersection of Ridgeway and West Cortland. That one displaced 7 people. Other news, the family of a missing Gary teenager is making a desperate plea for answers. They have been searching for Janiyah McMichael since she disappeared from her home back in August of 2024 when she was just 13 years old. Search teams have combed through abandoned buildings. They've searched near the water. Authorities have reportedly told the family, though, that Janiyah might have been the victim of foul play.
It's been 18 long months. I just want to lay all eyes on my baby girl and find her, you know, and make sure she's okay. So I'm begging the public, I'm begging the community, please help me find my child. No parent ever wants to experience this.
Praying that somebody comes forward. That's what keeps me going, that I will see her again. And I'm her voice, since we don't know where she's at right now and we don't have any answers. And I'm her voice. I just need somebody to come forward.
Authorities are offering a $30,000 reward for information that helps find Janiyah.
Authorities have identified the man killed in the shooting outside a bar in Bridgeview. 31-year-old Juan Rendon was killed just after 2 a.m. Saturday near the Cue Ball billiards and bar. Police say two men in two separate groups went outside and got into an argument before the shooting started. One other person is in critical condition. Today, Nick Reiner may finally enter a plea in the killings of his parents, Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner. In January, Nick Reiner's lawyers dropped out of the case without explaining why, which led to a delay in proceedings. The 32-year-old has been held without bail since police arrested him for allegedly stabbing the filmmaker and his wife on December 14th. He's charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Prosecutors might seek the death penalty.
This week kicks off a series of memorial services for the late Reverend Jesse Jackson. He died last Tuesday at the age of 84 after a months-long battle with a neurodegenerative disorder. Services start at Rainbow Push headquarters. Reverend Jackson will lie in state there Thursday and Friday. Then after that, the services shift to South Carolina and Washington, D.C. The details for those haven't been released yet, but we know that those are happening between March 1st and March 5th. And then Jackson will return here to Chicago for a big people's celebration. That's happening March 6th at House of Hope. And then a private homegoing celebration will happen at Rainbow Push. That's happening March 7th. Capacity for that is limited, but the service will be live streamed.
All right, turning now to the Supreme Court ruling striking down some of President Donald Trump's tariffs.
Brian Jackson joins us here in studio with the new fallout from overseas. Brian?
Many European Union leaders say that they're not sure whether their framework agreement with the U.S. will still apply in the wake of that ruling. Both American and EU officials sealed a trade deal last year that imposes a 15% import tax on 70% of European goods exported to the United States. The European Commission handles trade for the 27 EU member countries. Now it's moving to put that deal on pause, citing concerns about fair trade and investment.
The court said that I'm not allowed to charge even $1. I can't charge $1. Their decision's incorrect, but it doesn't matter because we have very powerful alternatives.
One of those alternatives is Section 122 of the 1974 Trade Act, which the president says he's now using to raise a 10% tariff on countries across the globe to 15% starting tomorrow. Meanwhile, Governor J.B. Pritzker is telling the administration that he is seeking $8.6 billion in tariff refunds for the people of Illinois. That would add up to about $1,700 each.
All right, thank
Gabrielle?
you, Brian. Wherever the Bears end up, city and state officials are laying the groundwork for a Bears-less future at Soldier Field.
Bearsless. Yes, Fox 32 Chicago has learned that members of the Chicago Park District have been quietly pitching a plan for the 101-year-old stadium to state lawmakers and the governor's office over recent weeks. The plan reportedly involves transforming the stadium into a massive concert and special event venue, and it carries an expected price tag to make the necessary adjustments of $630 million. David Doig is the president of the nonprofit Chicago Neighborhood Initiatives Group and is the former Park CEO who negotiated the Bears lease. He says Chicago should not write off Soldier Field, even if the Bears have.
The options for more concerts, more special events, things like international soccer matches, additional concerts will more than cover that revenue loss. And so I do think the long-term future of Soldier Field as continuing to be a preeminent kind of event venue is very bright.
And Park District officials say a chunk of the cost could be covered by the Bears, who still owe nearly $90 million if they break their lease with the Park District before the year 2033.
Okay, still sticking with some football conversation here. We'll be hearing from Bears general manager Ryan Poles and head coach Ben Johnson this week. The NFL scouting combine starts today in Indianapolis. We haven't heard from Poles or Johnson since their end of season press conference after winning the NFC North and beating the Packers in the divisional round of the playoffs. The Bears will be picking 25th over in the first round of the draft.
All right, 6:09. It is a little bit of a snowy start to the work week for some folks here on Monday morning. Let's check in with Caitlin Cody for the very latest.
Cold temperatures, light snow, and gusty winds. Let's talk about it. Radar showing behind me that we have seen some rounds of some more moderate snowfall from Chicago points south, really the southern half of Cook County. The rest of us getting in on some light scattered snow. I saw some heavier snowfall earlier near Naperville. So here's that closer peek. Again, where you see the darker blue shades here, this is where the snow is actually coming down as a snow shower. The rest of us, it's just going to be some light flurries. Attention, though, will be focused, especially in northwest Indiana throughout the day today, as we could see some lake effect snow bands set up, especially from Porter County to LaPorte County, where there is a winter weather advisory in place until this evening. We are all chilly, though. Temperatures are in the teens and low 20s out there for most. 20 degrees right now at the lakefront as well as O'Hare, 23 at Gary, 27 in Michigan City, but the teens from Aurora points west. As mentioned, where we do expect the highest accumulation of snowfall potential is Porter County and LaPorte, where we could see around 2 to 4 inches of snow. But even in Lake County, Indiana, you could see around 1 to 2 inches of snowfall, depending on where these lake effect bands do set up. Now, temperatures, they are going to be increasing tomorrow to 42. We have the chance for afternoon precipitation. It's also going to be very gusty with winds around 40 miles per hour. And then Wednesday down to 34. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Caitlin. After the break, we're live in Washington, D.C., where security is ramping up ahead of the President's State of the Union address. Well, the details coming up.
night on Fox.
The time is now 6:14. Here are some of the top stories we're following.
2 women are dead after a house fire broke out in North Lake. It happened at a home on West Drive early this morning. Authorities identified the victims as 65-year-old Susan Palos and 63-year-old Mari Carmen Wilkerson. They are still investigating a cause.
And developing this morning, the U.S. Embassy is telling all Americans in Mexico to shelter in place after Mexican forces killed the powerful cartel leader El Mencho. A massive wave of violence exploded after his death, and several airlines are pausing flights amid the unrest. The U.S. State Department is telling Americans in Mexico to shelter in place.
Chicago police are searching for a hit-and-run driver who left a 6-year-old girl fighting for her life and a 15-year-old seriously hurt. There's the license plate number of the car they're looking for. It happened Friday morning in Englewood. As we take a photo of the car itself, look at that. They're looking for a white and black 2010 Lincoln MXT, again with the license plate FS7 3498. Okay, to the northeast part of the country right now, where a powerful winter blizzard is bringing life-threatening conditions, wind gusts, and the potential for more than 2 feet of snow. There's also a chance for flooding in New Jersey, Connecticut, and New York. At least 7 states have declared a state of emergency as tens of thousands of flights have been disrupted as well. DHS is now working with state and local authorities as well as FEMA to help those affected by this blizzard.
Oh my gosh, this is selfish to say. Thank goodness that is not us.
Right.
But I was listening to some press conferences this morning, Caitlin, just as I was getting ready, and they were saying they're having an old school kind of snow day over on the East Coast where
No pressure.
where they're not going to have any virtual learning, where people can just relax, hopefully.
Yes, hunker down.
Pull the kids around in a sled for the day. Yeah, I've been seeing videos too out of New Jersey of the snow just piling up there. Here locally, though, to Gabby's point, we have the chance for snow, but it's not snowing like that. Behind me, you can kind of see the snowfall. It is going to be a day where we have chilly temperatures, gusty winds, and that snow, yes, we have some light snow this morning, but we do have the potential for accumulating snowfall as lake effect bands set up in northwest Indiana, especially. Behind me, though, the heaviest snow currently is actually from Chicago south. And Gabby and I were also talking about the Dan Ryan. Could be slow right now because of the snow coming down, just drops in visibility. The rest of us, as we get further west, you can see some light blue covering DuPage County, northern Cook County, Lake County, down into Grundy County. You have some flurries. Northwest Indiana right now, it's just light snow, but that snow could be picking up in intensity throughout the day, especially in Porter and LaPorte County, where there is a winter weather advisory in place. Temperatures right now are in the teens and low 20s. It feels like we could be in the single digits with our wind chill, down to 5 in Aurora, 4 at LaSalle, 6 at Midway, but 13 at the lakefront is what it feels like. So dress warm this morning. And you are going to need it even this afternoon, the layers, that is, because temperatures are going to be staying in the 20s today. We also expect gusts to be up to 30 miles per hour. Tomorrow, it's going to be warmer, but we still expect gusty winds up to 40 miles per hour for your Tuesday. A full check of your forecast is ahead. Let's check in with Gabs.
Yeah, Caitlin, we're taking a look at our map here in our drive times, and you can see the only spot where traffic is really building this time of morning, even this early at 6:15, is the Dan Ryan. It's at 25 minutes right now from 95th to the Burn interchange, and really the stop and go starts before that on the Bishop Ford, which gets heavier this time of morning, but just a little extra so, probably because that, lower visibility that's going on with some of the snow that we're seeing. It's not just on the Dan Ryan. Be ready wherever you are. Yes, it's light, but you still want to be a little extra careful. You can see your other drive times there. I do want to mention a little scene on the eastbound side of the Eisenhower. It's a crash that is now pretty much cleared, but they do have a car over to the left shoulder and a truck over on the right shoulder and a bunch of flashing lights. So you're going to see a little stop and go over on the eastbound side of 290 near Route 83. Also, we have on Union Pacific West some train delays. It's due to switch failure, so please be aware of that. Okay, 6:18, switching gears here. This morning, we're learning more about the armed man shot and killed by Secret Service agents at President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home over the weekend. Officials say 21-year-old Austin Tucker Martin from North Carolina was armed with a shotgun and gas canister when he entered the security perimeter of the complex. The president was not there when it happened. Investigators have not identified a motive.
All right, all this comes as the president is preparing to deliver his State of the Union address tomorrow night.
Doug Luzader is live from Capitol Hill this morning. Doug, this has to be affecting probably security ahead of the address. Are you seeing anything so far that you can report?
Well, look,
there's always a lot of security. Anytime we have a State of the Union address, fencing up around the Capitol and so on, you just have so many officials there in attendance beyond just, the president. You've got the vice president. You have, most of the cabinet members generally. You have Supreme Court justices, to say nothing of all the members of Congress and their guests. So, yeah, I mean, there's always a lot of security. We just had an incident last week as well where an individual was arrested approaching the Capitol with a gun. This obviously comes at a time, too, when the Department of Homeland Security, which oversees Secret Service, Secret Service is part of that, is dealing with this funding lapse as part of this partial government shutdown.
So could you see that having an impact then in the security measures in and around the speech with this partial government shutdown in place?
Well, there's no indication that it's going to. It certainly doesn't make things easier. But we're going to start seeing some of these folks start missing paychecks if this goes too much longer.
Doug, we also have to ask, of course, then what are we expecting President Trump to focus on during his State of the Union address?
Well, these things are always kind of catch-alls, kind of a mix of foreign affairs as well as a lot of domestic issues. I think the president is very likely to talk about the tariff decision from the Supreme Court last week. That'll be interesting because he'll probably have some Supreme Court justices in front of him, and he's made his frustration on that front abundantly clear. He may also talk about Iran and, of course, the military buildup there as talks do continue and the possibility of a U.S. Military strike on Iran.
All right. Doug Luzader with an update for us from Washington. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Lawmakers are heading back to Capitol Hill as well to try to end the latest partial government shutdown. We have you covered on the sticking points. That's coming up next.
623, welcome back. Congressional lawmakers return from recess today, and they have a big task ahead of them. They're trying to reach a deal to end the partial government shutdown. Funding for the Department of Homeland Security is the main sticking point. Democrats are calling for immigration enforcement reforms, but Republicans say their demands go too far. TSA PreCheck is still operational even after the Department of Homeland Security initially announced it was suspended. It had suspended the service because of the government shutdown. The agency now says the TSA will reevaluate as staffing issues arise. DHS did suspend Global Entry. That is the service that expedites U.S. Customs and immigration clearance for pre-approved low-risk international travelers entering into the United States.
Fox 32 Chicago is making sure you are ready to vote for the upcoming spring primary. We are holding a series of debates, keep you informed about where the candidates stand on all kinds of issues so you can hear from all of them in the big races. There are two more happening this week. Tomorrow, the Republican candidates for governor will square off. This is Ted Dabrowski, James Mendrick, and Rick Heidner. And then on Wednesday, a two-part debate featuring 6 Democrats. They're all running for the 9th District congressional seat. If you have any questions that you would like us to ask them, email them in to parisonpolitics@fox.com. Again, that email address, parisonpolitics@fox.com.
Chicago police are working to make sure every officer has the life-saving equipment they need on the job. Chicago Alderman Matt O'Shea took his annual Get Behind the Vest pancake breakfast to the Beverly neighborhood over the weekend. The event raises money for bulletproof vests, which start at $500.
Chicago police officers are issued a vest when they graduate from the academy. That vest has a shelf life. It's about 5 years. So the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation kicked off this campaign 11 years ago to purchase new vests as they rotate these vests through their lifespan.
Since the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation kicked off the campaign, Get Behind the Vest has replaced more than 15,000 bulletproof vests at a cost of more than $6 million. Impressive.
All right, it was a day of action for letter carriers across the U.S. as they prepare to negotiate a new contract with the USPS. Those talks are set to start Wednesday in Washington, D.C. During a rally Sunday, the union shot back against the Trump administration's suggestion to privatize the Postal Service. They say the delivery of 367 million pieces of mail nationwide will not be guaranteed until a contract is signed.
If you deliver a first-class letter, you ought to get first-class pay. You ought to get first-class pay. You ought to get enough money to feed your family, to live well, to live decently, to send your kids to college, to help make America the America that has never been, but the America that it has the potential to be.
We do not have a mail system without the men and women who deliver our mail. You're in a negotiation now about the future of your role, and I want to tell you, I'm on your side. Call me anytime and I'll be there to help, because I know what you mean to America, and I know what you mean to me personally.
Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray! Thank you.
And last year, the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, suggested cutting 10,000 letter carrier jobs. Union leaders say they want higher pay and better working conditions. All right, Caitlin, what do we got coming up in the weather department?
We have snow, cold temperatures, and gusty winds. Today, highs only in the 20s. You could be dealing with drops in visibility and accumulating snowfall, especially in northwest Indiana. We'll take a look at your full forecast. I'll show you where the snow is falling now and the timing of the snow to come. It's all ahead.
Welcome back. 6:30 on your Monday morning. We appreciate you starting your day with us.
Yes, thanks. We are following some breaking news to start the 6:30 hour, the half hour. 2 women are dead after a house fire in Northlake. It happened at a home on West Drive early this morning. Authorities identified the victims as 65-year-old Susan Palis and 63-year-old Mari Carmen Wilkerson. They're still investigating a cause.
Plus, Americans are being told to shelter in place down in Mexico as violence erupts there. We're going to be live at O'Hare to explain how the death of a cartel leader is actually stranding people, including vacationers, over the border.
Lawmakers are back at the Capitol with the goal of ending the partial government shutdown. We'll tell you where negotiations stand as of now.
All right, before we get to those stories, let's check back in with Caitlin. And Caitlin, how are we doing snow-wise outside? I saw a little bit falling as I approached downtown just now.
Yeah. Snow is still coming down. Our live cameras are showing it. If you squint your eyes, you can kind of see it. We had some moderate snowfall actually not long ago along 94, so we had a little bit of a delay on the Dan Ryan. Right now, the snow is getting lighter there, but we still have widely scattered snow showers. That's what I want to show you first. The radar loop behind me, where you can see how we had that dark shade of blue for a short time, and now it is light blue again in the southern half of Cook County. But still, light snow coming down from Chicago to Midway. Blue Island, you're going to see that light snow. As we see in the bigger picture, Northwest Indiana covered with light snow too. And really, this is where we're going to be focused today, as we have lake effect snow expected to set up, especially from Porter County points east. That's where we have that winter weather advisory in place. But we are all going to be chilly, so make sure you bundle up this morning. Gabby.
Caitlin, let's take a look at your drive times here to start 6:30. Looking okay, honestly, just a couple minutes heavier than we saw around 15 minutes ago. 33 minutes on the Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown. If you're headed towards the airport, it's going to be around 25 minutes. 33 minutes as well on the Eisenhower, at 30 minutes on the Stevenson from 355 to DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Some stop and go traffic starting to build, but there's a little more stop and go over on the Dan Ryan. It's around 25 minutes from 95th to the Byrne interchange. That's where we're a little heavier. Caitlin and I were talking probably because you have a slightly less visibility, some of that light snow that's falling around the area, also on the Bishop Ford there, so please be aware.
All right, thank you, Gabby. Appreciate it. The U.S. Embassy has advised all Americans in Mexico right now to shelter in place after the killing of Mexico's top cartel leader.
Very scary here. Several major airlines have also paused flights in and out of Mexico. Saquon joins us live at O'Hare with the latest. Say.
Hey, good morning to you guys. Most of these cancellations are impacting flights that are heading into or out of Mexico's popular tourist destinations. So think places like Puerto Vallarta, Cabo San Lucas, Cancun. Now, the U.S. Embassy in Mexico released a statement yesterday saying, while no airports have been closed, roadblocks have impacted airline operations with some domestic and international flights canceled in both Guadalajara and Puerto Vallarta. Delta, American, United, Alaska, Air Canada, and Southwest are some of the major airlines that either diverted or outright canceled their flights to Mexico yesterday. Many of them have issued alerts for travelers, however, allowing people to rebook their flights at no additional cost. Keep in mind, every airline has different rules on who qualifies for this type of rebooking and when you need to rebook by. So if you do have a trip to Mexico planned for this week, you'll definitely want to check for updates directly through the airline you booked through. This unrest has also led to people being stranded in Mexico. So if you or people you know are in Mexico right now, the U.S. Embassy there recommends sheltering in place, whether that's in your hostel, your hotel, or Airbnb. They also recommend avoiding crowds, specifically those around law enforcement activity, being aware of your surroundings, monitoring local media for updates, and following directions from local authorities. Now, keep in mind that massive blizzard that's hitting the Northeast is only adding to the chaos, guys. More than 5,000 flights have been canceled within, into, or out of the U.S. today, with airports in New York, New Jersey, Boston, and Philly being hit the hardest. At last check, O'Hare accounted for over 200 of those total cancellations today, with many of those impacting flights, again, heading to or from areas in the Northeast. Midway was at just over 30 cancellations for today. So for anyone who is flying today, whether you are flying domestic or international, just make sure you are checking your airline for any sort of updates, and also get here well ahead of time. Probably get here earlier than you were already planning on. Guys.
Hey, Say, thank you for that update. We are going to check now back in with Caitlin Cody. And yeah, it feels, I know we got a little snow that we're dealing with, but it feels like we really dodged a bullet considering what they're going through in the Northeast.
Comparing the two, yes, and that's what I like to say. The silver lining is it's not as bad. This morning, though, unfortunately, it is cold, and we do have scattered light snow. We're going to have gusty winds today around 30 miles per hour, and highs are only going to be in the 20s. Checking out the radar, though, behind me, you can see mostly light snow, although we have been watching some darker shades of blue develop, especially the southern half of Cook County. But in western areas, DuPage County, DeKalb County, into northwest Indiana, even you have some light scattered snow showers. A closer look does show, again, that I-90, so the toll road, 94, the Dan Ryan. It could be a little bit slow because of this snow coming down, but the rest of us, you're just going to have some light scattered flurries for now. Northwest Indiana, heads up to you. We do have the potential for some lake effect snow bands to set up, especially in Porter and LaPorte County. Temperatures, though, I mentioned how we're all going to be chilly. These are the actual temperatures: 20 at the lakefront and O'Hare, 19 in Aurora and Morris. Northwest Indiana, temperatures in the low to mid 20s. Here's that winter storm alert, the advisory in place in purple from Porter to LaPorte and Berrien County, because this is where we have the best opportunity to see 2 to 4 inches of snow accumulation. So take it slow this morning, especially if you see those drops in visibility, and make sure you bundle up, layered up, because it is going to be a cold one from start to finish. A full check of your forecast is ahead. It's 6:37. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Breaking this morning, 2 women are dead after a house fire broke out in North Lake. Crews were called to the home on West Drive early this morning to find it on fire. Once they put it out, they found the 2 women inside. Neighbors were woken up and told to leave.
Somebody was knocking on the door, and the police told us to please, evacuate your house and move the cars. I've been praying. There's just been so many things happen to this family that let's just hope everything is okay.
Authorities identified the victims as 65-year-old Susan Palos and 63-year-old Mary Carmen Wilkerson. They are still investigating a cause.
Chicago police are searching for a hit-and-run driver who left a 6-year-old girl fighting for her life and a 15-year-old seriously hurt. This is a photo of the car police are looking for. You should see it here in a second. A white and black 2010 Lincoln MXT. It has a license plate FS7 3498. Please be on the lookout. The hit and run happened around 7:45 Friday morning near the intersection of West 69th Street and South Paulina Street. This is in Englewood. Police say the car has a sticker on the left rear window and should have damage to the front hood or windshield. Authorities have identified the man killed in a shooting outside a bar in Bridgeview. 31-year-old Juan Rendon was killed just after 2 a.m. Saturday near the Cue Ball Billiards and Bar. Police say men in two separate groups went outside and got into an argument before the shooting started. One other person is in critical condition at this time.
All right, still ahead for us, an exclusive report. Local leaders planning for life after the Bears leave Soldier Field. We will break down their plan coming up next.
Seven. 6:44 now, taking a live look just north of the city. If it looks cold out there, that's because it is. We saw some flakes falling this morning, very light. Caitlin will have a look at weather here very soon. But here is a look at some of the stories that we're following this morning.
2 women are dead after a house fire broke out in North Lake. It happened on a home on West Drive. Early this morning, authorities identified the victims as 65-year-old Susan Palos and 63-year-old Mari Carmen Wilkerson. They are still investigating a cause.
Today, Nick Reiner may finally enter a plea in the killings of his parents, Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner. Remember, in January, Nick Reiner's lawyer dropped out of the case without explaining why, which led to delay in proceedings. He's charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Prosecutors might seek the death penalty.
The family of a missing Gary teenager is making a desperate plea for answers. They have now been searching for Janiyah McMichael since she disappeared from her home in August of 2024 at just the age of 13. Search teams have combed through abandoned buildings and searched nearby water sources, ponds and lakes. Authorities reportedly told the family that Janiyah might have been the victim of foul play.
6:45. Okay, wherever the Bears end up, city and state officials are laying the groundwork for a Bears-less future at Soldier Field.
Yes, Fox 32 Chicago has learned that members of the Chicago Park District have been quietly pitching a plan for the 101-year-old stadium to state lawmakers and the governor's office over recent weeks. This plan evidently involves transforming the stadium into a massive concert and special event venue. And the improvements required would carry an expected price tag of about $630 million. David Doig is the president of the nonprofit Chicago Neighborhoods Initiative and is the former park CEO who negotiated the Bears lease. He says Chicago should not write off Soldier Field, even though the Bears have.
The options for more concerts, more special events, things like international soccer matches, additional concerts will more than cover that revenue loss. And so I do think the long-term future of Soldier Field as continuing to be a preeminent kind of event venue is very bright.
Park District officials say a chunk of the cost could be covered by the Bears, who will owe nearly $90 million if they break their lease with the Park District before 2033.
Okay.
All right, the government shutdown could affect your next trip to the airport. We're going to talk about the security measure they are putting on hold. That is coming up next.
Ball HQ.
Welcome back. It is about 10 minutes till 7 o'clock on your Monday morning. Traffic looks to be running fairly smoothly over a snow-covered Dan Ryan Expressway right outside Sox Park right there. We'll check in with Caitlin in just a moment.
Thanks, Anthony. Congressional lawmakers returned from recess today, and they have a big task ahead of them. They're trying to reach a deal to end the partial government shutdown. So funding for the Department of Homeland Security, that's the main sticking point. Democrats are calling for immigration enforcement reforms, but Republicans say their demands go too far. TSA PreCheck is still operational even after the Department of Homeland Security initially announced it was suspending the service because of the government shutdown. The agency now says the TSA will reevaluate as staffing issues arise. DHS did suspend Global Entry, though. That is a service that expedites U.S. Customs and immigration clearance for pre-approved international travelers who are entering the United States.
Fox 32 Chicago is making sure you are ready for the upcoming spring primary. We're holding a series of debates so you can hear from all the candidates on all the important issues in the big races here. There are two more happening this week. Tomorrow, the Republican candidates for governor square off: Ted Dabrowski, James Mendrick, and Rick Heidner. Then on Wednesday, a two-part debate will happen. It features 6 Democrats who are all vying to take the 9th District congressional seat. If you have any questions you would like Paris to ask these candidates, send them in. You can email those questions to parisonpolitics@fox.com.
All right, 6:51. Caitlin, it kind of just seems like a day to hunker down, right? Just relax.
That'd be nice to not have to trudge to work on a Monday.
If you could, yeah. I'm seeing a lot more coats that are being whipped out. We're seeing Lake in Michigan here in our peripheral.
That's right.
Oh, I know it. And the snow keeps strengthening and then decreasing in intensity. Behind me, I want to show you the radar because again, we're starting to see some darker blue show up right along I-90, I-94. The southern half of Cook County really is where you've been seeing these bands of some more moderate snowfall come down. Chicago points north and west, light snow flurry activity from Kane, Kendall, Grundy County, DeKalb County. Same thing in northwest Indiana. Just some light flurries happening now for the most part. Now, we have the potential throughout the day to have lake effect snow bands set up, especially from Porter County to LaPorte County. With that, you may see some accumulating snowfall. This morning, though, take it slow with the snow coming down. You're going to have drops in visibilities at times. It could get slick. Our weather headlines: Northwest Indiana snow today. Really, that's going to be the focus as I just mentioned, we have that potential for the accumulating snowfall where we have that winter weather advisory in place from Porter County and LaPorte County. Precipitation and wind again on Tuesday. Tomorrow, temperatures are going to be mild back to the 40s, but we're going to have winds gusting to 40 miles per hour and the chance for afternoon wet weather and a rain-snow mix. But by the end of the week, we're drying out and we could be around 50 degrees on Friday. So here's our temperatures outside right now. It's 23 degrees in Gary, 20 at the Lakefront and O'Hare, 19 in Aurora, 17 at Woodstock. Here's your futurecast to show, as mentioned, those bands of lake effect snow setting up this afternoon, especially in northwest Indiana. But temperatures are only going to be in the 20s today. It's going to be a chilly one for all of us. Tonight, we're drying out for Chicagoland, all of us drying. And then tomorrow, that's when temperatures, as mentioned, are expected to push into the 40s, but we have the chance for scattered light precipitation. It is 6:53, checking in now with Gabby to see how traffic's going.
Caitlin, let's take a look at our drive times here in a moment. I know that we're getting a little heavier since we last talked here at 6:30, but we do have an accident that's reported over on the northwest side. It's Roselle Road. It's on the northbound side, but it's at the Jane Addams. So it's not on the Jane Addams, but at the Jane Addams, so be aware of that. Here's our drive times. We're looking at 40 minutes on the Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown. Same on the Eisenhower, closer to 35 minutes on the Stevenson from 355 to LaSalle Lakeshore Drive, and still a bit heavy on the Dan Ryan from 95th to the Byrne Interchange. All right, plenty more. Good day ahead, and keep it right here.
Starting soon.
Welcome back. Tomorrow will mark 4 years since Russia invaded Ukraine, sparking the start of the war.
Authorities estimate there have been more than 1 million civilian and soldier casualties combined on both sides. The war has also caused billions of dollars worth of damage to homes, businesses, and utilities. The U.S. has been working to broker a peace deal. President Trump set a June deadline for the two sides to reach an agreement.
The next round of talks between the U.S. and Iran will be held this week. Oman's foreign minister says the meeting takes place Thursday in Geneva. Tehran's top diplomat said he expected to meet U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff then. The Trump administration has been pushing for concessions, urging Iran to not pursue nuclear weapons.
It is now day 22 in the search for Nancy Guthrie. And despite an exhaustive search by multiple law enforcement agencies, it appears authorities still have no clear leads on where the 84-year-old could be. The Pima County Sheriff's Department insists there have been no changes in the resources they've dedicated to the search.
Former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton will be deposed this week in New York as part of the Epstein investigation done by the House of Representatives. Hillary Clinton is scheduled to testify Thursday, followed by the former president on Friday. Now, both these depositions are going to be taking place under oath at their home. They have been pushing for a televised public hearing, however.
Trader Joe's chicken fried rice is being recalled after customers reported finding glass in it. These products